Good evening, ghosts and ghouls. You're listening to A Horrorble Conversation. I'm JT Ripper.
And I'm Todd of Thunder, back again, bringing you some horror news and fun shit to listen to.
Guess who's back? Back again.
Christ.
Todd took sacks. Tell a friend.
Anyway, we got some news for you. I guess we'll start off with what you just read. They're making
William Dafoe is in Nosferatu.
Yeah, they're remaking Nosferatu, which is an old vampire flick. One of the early horror movies. What was the first? Was it 1920s or? I believe it was, but it was during the silent film era, and it was one of the first horror movies to really use special effects makeup to show some gruesomeness, and I believe it was a German film, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're all right.
And it was just announced that William Dafoe is added to the cast. We've been theorizing that he probably should play Nosferatu because he definitely
is ugly. I mean, is a really good actor.
Yeah, he has that look to him. There's a lot of roles out there where you go, God, I wish they would cast William Dafoe. He looks just like this.
The Joker.
Yeah, the Joker. Of course, he was the Green Goblin in the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie.
Oh, even in the new, the last Tom Holland movie.
Yeah, he made an appearance.
Reprised his role. Anyway, he's just a phenomenal actor, and I really hope, crossing fingers, that he is Nosferatu.
Yeah,
because I know he'll knock it out. He'll take it serious and knock it out of the park.
Oh yeah, he's very, very talented. Of course, one of his standout roles that I've always liked is his role in the Boondock Saints.
Yeah.
And, he's played in classics like Platoon and all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah, he's just an amazing actor.
Well, here's some news for you. They are making A Quiet Place Day One. That's the title to it. It's a prequel to the Quiet Place films.
Okay.
And it looks like they are expecting or working towards a spring 2024 release date. But the news out is it will be a prequel and it's called A Quiet Place Day One. Okay. So it's kind of,
I guess, when the shit goes down.
Yeah, I guess you'll see from the very beginning of how these creatures and how these monsters
come to be.
Yeah, and probably how they figured out that they needed to be quiet. And, the whole plot line, basically.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed the first two movies. I thought they were really good. So
very creative.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that one. I think it'll be pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's see here. There is a show on Peacock called Vampire Academy. Some people might have watched it. Some people might not know anything about it. But
I just recently found out about it.
The news is they're canceling it after one season. So if you are a fan of it, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what it's about. I've never checked it out. I don't know whether to be sad or whether to be happy. But if it's on Peacock, we have Peacock. Maybe we'll, try to watch it and see what it's about. But the news came out a couple of days ago. They're canceling, so it might not be hitting the ratings button like they want it to hit.
Yeah, I don't know if it just came out or not. But
if it already has a season, I assume it's been out for a little while, but probably not that long. I just hope that this doesn't, lead to other services like Hulu, like Peacock, like Paramount Plus. I don't want them to get like Netflix and cancel shit after the first season because Netflix is notorious for doing that. they are notorious for like giving all these TV shows, and if they don't reach a certain quota, they automatically cancel them.
Well, they came out with a statement recently about that, and they said they never have canceled a successful TV show.
Well, I beg to differ. Simply just, looking at the internet and looking on Facebook and all these places, when these shows do get canceled, I read a lot of the comments.
Yeah, it's a big uproar.
Yeah, and, you have to realize that if you are a streaming service and you come out with 15 to 25 new fucking series every year, it may take some time for that show to grip an audience.
Yeah, and not everything's going to grab the audience like first season.
Exactly. There's a show, I don't even know how many seasons it went, but I know it didn't have a clear-cut ending to it. It was that the one with Drew Barrymore, the Santa Clara Diet.
How do you say it? Santa Fe Diet?
It's either Santa Fe or Santa Clara Diet. But it's about Drew Barrymore. She basically turns into a zombie slowly throughout the whole series.
Yeah.
And her husband keeps like kind of feeding her this, and he don't know how long he can keep it up. But it's a really good combination of being funny and having some really gory and gross scenes, and overall it was a wonderful fucking show in my opinion.
It was. Yeah.
So, I know that show never had closure, and it just sucks, because I think I watched the whole first season and I was getting ready to watch the second, and then I'm like, oh, this thing is canceled. So it put me in the mindset of, should I watch the second season? Should I continue this only to get disappointed, or should I just stop it right now and just take a break? And
pretty much fuck it. I don't want to waste my time on that.
Yeah, it's like, the end result is you're not going to get closure. So, I just hope that Peacock and some of these other streaming services don't do it like Netflix does. And I wouldn't bring it up if Netflix didn't do it frequently. Like if they canceled every once in a while, sure, everybody does that every once in a while, but they are frequent at canceling it. Like they're notorious for doing it.
They pull the plug pretty damn quick.
Yeah. And let's see here. There is a new movie that I saw, and I thought it looked pretty cool. There's a trailer out for it. It's called She Came from the Woods.
I think I read this in the 2023 releases.
Yeah, it's a group of counselors unleash an ancient spirit on the last night of summer camp. How about that?
Friday the 13th meets Evil Dead.
Theatrical debut February 10th.
That's soon.
That is soon. So, get on there, check out that trailer, see if you will dig that.
Dig it.
I watched it. I thought, I'm a sucker for campy stuff. So.
Yeah. Knock at the Cabin comes out this week.
Yep, Knock at the Cabin with Dave Bautista.
We'll be watching that. Yeah.
Yeah, we
got. I'm not a Shamalama Ding Dong fan. I think he's had a handful of movies. Not even a handful, like probably like two that I've liked.
Well,
three. There's three.
That pretty much is my horror news. We have a special thing that we're going to end it on.
Oh, I got one more thing.
But I was going to say that we could elaborate on our M. Night Shyamalan.
Lama ding dongs.
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about that. This is a guy who I thought started out strong.
Very strong.
With The Sixth Sense. Came out in 1999 with Bruce Willis and the little kid. What's the little kid's name? He's not a little kid anymore, but
no, he still looks the same though.
Yeah, except he's taller and I think fatter. But
well, yeah,
great movie. I went to the theaters and saw Signs. Joaquin Phoenix, Mel Gibson.
Yeah, I did too.
And I thought it was a great film. I thought it had the perfect dry humor in it for that particular film. I love the film. And, you know, there's some other projects that he was linked to, whether he was a writer or producer, might not directed it, such as the Split trilogy, I think it was called.
Yeah, you had Glass.
What was the one? It was one before that, back in the day. It was Glass, and then it was Split, and then...
It was one with Mel Gibson. Not Mel Gibson, dumbass. Die Hard.
Bruce Willis?
Bruce Willis.
I can't remember the first one.
His fucking name.
But it came out in like late 90s, early 2000s. God, it's going to bug me. We're going to look it up, and but anyway, that trilogy was pretty good. Especially Split. I thought Split was a great movie. I think the guy did an excellent job of playing all those characters. You know, each scene he was a different person, you know. He even played, I think, like a mentally challenged person character in it.
Yeah, that was definitely better than what I thought it would be.
Yeah, I really like Split. I thought it was one of the best of when it came out of that year. But Unbreakable. Yeah, that's it. Unbreakable. And
it was actually 2000.
2000. I knew it was like 99, 2000, but Unbreakable, and then it was Glass, and then Split, and
Split then Glass.
Anyway, I liked all of them, but
yeah. I like Signs. I like Sixth Sense. I liked the one in the woods.
The Village.
I like The Village.
I like The Village too. A lot of people, I mean, I was a little disappointed by the end, knowing that the creatures wasn't real. Yeah. However, as I've gotten older, I think it's a very smart movie. I think it's a very clever movie. And I think that it's very possible that that type of scenario could go down. There could be a group of people that are tired of this bullshit world that we live in. They're tired of the bickering back and forth between the left and the right. They're tired of the wokeness. They're tired of the cancel culture. They're tired of social media fame. They're tired of fucking people acting like idiots on TikTok. They're tired of all that shit. So they gather up people and move them into the woods and start their own like little colony, lone little community, and they isolate from the rest of the world. I can definitely see that. Of course, they would be labeled by the government as radicals and rebels, and they'd probably want to go fuck with them, and it'd probably end with a fucking shootout.
Yeah, be a civil war.
Yeah, because there's people in the past that's tried to do stuff like that, and it's ended that way for them. So, but getting back to the movie, it's possible, you know, it's certainly possible. So if he came up with that type of story back then, imagine if it would come out now. And there's also another movie that I really liked by him called Devil.
Oh, yeah, I forget that he did Devil.
Yeah, I love that movie. I love the fact that it's in an isolated elevator. So it's claustrophobic, and you get a group of people, and one of them happens to be the devil. Yeah. And, you know, I like that one. Other than those...
I forgot he'd done that one, but I really like it. Okay, so there's like 4 movies I like by him.
Other than
You're moving up, ding dong.
other than those, his recent efforts,
Ooh.
well, not even recent, but like The Happening is when like it really started to go downhill, honestly, because that was a movie that should have been really good. And this is how his movies are. His movies start off with a really great concept and has potential, and he has the ability to cast big name actors to make people want to go see his movies. Oh, that's Mark Wahlberg. It has to be pretty good if it's Mark Wahlberg,
Right.
that type of shit. And then, but it's almost like he sabotages his own movies.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's almost like, in the middle of the movie, or, 20, 30 minutes into the movies, he goes, you've guys been acting pretty good up until this point. Could you stop doing that and act pretty fucking stupidly?
Yeah.
Like, here's a rewrite for you. Say it in the most idiotic fucking way you can.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Brilliant.
And, it's probably some people out there who are going, well, you just don't get it. Obviously, I don't. I don't get how you can go from a scene where you literally take a shotgun and you kill 2 teenage boys to the very next scene is Mark Wahlberg laughing and joking and talking to a mannequin. Like, practicing what he's going to say to the mannequin to the girl.
Yeah. I know.
It's...
Yeah, it's a head scratcher.
And not recently, it's been a couple months ago, but I watched the movie Old.
Ew.
Where they're on the beach and they rapidly age.
Yeah.
Again, great concept. It's a universal fear of getting old. Everybody has that.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to get old. So if you're on an island where you're rampantly doing that, it's a pretty good concept for a horror film. Well, because of the way it was written and because of the dialogue and because of the way that they were directed to deliver it, I felt like I was watching a dubbed over movie. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't. It was them talking. It was just them talking very awkwardly and very unrealistically.
Yeah.
Like the dialogue
was
just complete dog shit.
Yeah.
And I almost wanted to turn it off. It was so bad.
Yeah,
and
same.
There's some people out here that just don't catch that, but I couldn't continue to watch. I mean, I did continue to watch it, but it was, it was so disappointing. Like that's what I can say the last maybe 10, 15 years of M. Night Shyamalan's career. One word that I can use to describe is disappointing.
Yeah, it is.
Because I think he's a talented dude. I just think that if he stays away from the camera and he just writes the core story, then it'll probably be all right.
Yeah.
When he starts to direct and when he starts to be fully in control, you'll get a half-ass movie that has a good concept that is going to go downhill quick because, I guess he's fell into this, complacency where this is the way he does shit now, and it just ain't working for me.
Yeah.
But, Knock at the Woods or Knock at the Cabin, the trailer looks good.
The concept's interesting.
Concept's interesting. Are we going to get your
old Shamalama Ding Dong?
Yeah, or are we going to get that new bullshit where, they literally put all the best parts in the trailer, and then once you go to watch it, you're like, oh my God, this was a fucking mistake.
Oh my God! They're eating them!
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, my expectations for this movie is zero. Like, I'm expecting to go in and fucking annihilate this one in a review. That's how I feel. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you folks. Like, I'm going in there with a very negative attitude, thinking that this is going to be dog shit.
Well, I'm going in there with the potential that this is going to be dog shit.
Yeah, I already have that. I already have the shame.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much. But we will check it out and we will review it. There's a couple movies that's on some streaming services that will come at you. I know I recently finally watched Orphan First Kill, so we'll come at you with a review of that.
It's a goodie.
Violent Night recently came on one of the streaming services. We're able to watch that. We'll have a review for you with that. We have The Last of Us second episode that we can review. So you got all that looking forward to, and I wanted to end a couple episodes ago. We ended with 10 things you didn't know about Friday the 13th.
Yep. It was fun.
And
some I knew, some I didn't know.
I found another one. This is 10 things you might not know about Halloween 2 from 1981. The original Halloween 2.
Yeah, not the
Rob
Zombie or the 2018.
Yeah, not those. The original 1981, Donald Pleasance, Jamie Lee Curtis, Dick Warlock.
Yeah.
So, number 10. Hold on. I can't read this shit.
Hey, you wrote it.
I did know this because we actually met Dick Warlock last year, and he told this story on a panel. But number 10, to get the role of Michael Myers, Dick Warlock passed by a room where the Michael Myers mask was on a table. He put the mask on, and he walked into Rick Rosenthal, the director's office, and just stood there and looked at him. And when Rick Rosenthal said, "Who are you?" he didn't say anything. He just looked at him. And after a while, he just took the mask off and was like, "Can I play Michael Myers?" And Rick Rosenthal was like, "Yeah." So it impressed him so much the way his body movement was, and the way he tilted the head and done all this kind of stuff. That's how he got the role.
Yeah. It's just fucking hilarious.
Number 9, the mask is the exact same mask from the first movie. It just looks a little different because the paint was faded and they repainted it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So it's actually the exact same mask before all these years later it deteriorated. Number 8, John Carpenter shot a few more gory scenes and was added to the film, believing that Rosenthal's final version was too tamed.
Really?
Yeah. And not only, I knew this, but I thought that John Carpenter only shot additional scenes for the television version of it. I didn't know that he shot like some of the gorier scenes, thinking that it was too tamed. So for John Carpenter to think it's too tamed, who relies more on suspenseful stuff rather than gory stuff, I guess that tells
shocking.
Yeah, that tells you a lot.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. I didn't know that one.
Number 7, one of the actresses hit a desk when she was filming one of the scenes, and she split her eye open during filming. She wanted to keep going, but Rick Rosenthal made her go to the ER, and she had to get 12 stitches for real.
No shit. I didn't know that one either.
Yeah. It actually said the actress's name, but I didn't write it down. But yeah. I'm sure you can go through the scenes and probably pick it out if you was really looking for it.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be like one of those like freeze frame things.
Number 6. I did know this, and this is kind of sad. Rick Rosenthal also directed Halloween Resurrection as well.
I did know that.
I did know that too.
I like to put that out of my mind.
I don't know how he went from directing the best sequel in the franchise to the worst fucking sequel in the franchise.
Yeah. Honestly, if it was anybody but Michael, it probably would have been a good movie.
Yeah, maybe. It was, it was one of those, let's include the internet. Let's, come of age, put it in the 21st century. What the fuck?
Yeah. Oh, here you go. I felt like that was appropriate.
That's what I felt like when I watched Resurrection. Anyway, number 5. Tommy Lee Wallace was offered the directing job of Part 2, but he turned it down because he didn't like the script. However, he did take the directing job on Part 3, Season of the Witch, because it was an original concept.
Yeah, he talked about that too.
Yeah, he talked about how he didn't think that he could or anybody else could improve on John Carpenter's story on the first one.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even going to try it.
Yeah.
And, even though Halloween 2 ended up being, a great fucking film, I think that Tommy Lee Wallace's style was best suited for an original film like Season of the Witch.
Which is a cult classic now.
Yeah, which is great.
So.
Season of Witch kind of has that Invasion of the Body Snatchers influence to it, and you can tell.
Yeah.
And I think he was better with that movie than trying to bring back Michael Myers and go further with it. So, and Tommy Lee Wallace hasn't directed many movies, but the few that he has been really great. Halloween 3 being a great one. It, the TV miniseries with Tim Curry. And one of the most underrated films of all time, Fright Night 2. The original Fright Night 2.
God, that movie is so good.
Yeah.
It's actually free on YouTube, people.
Yeah, it's free on YouTube. Go check it out. It's one of the unsung heroes of 80s horror movies.
Yeah, like if you love 80s horror movies, like this is like 80s horror at its pinnacle.
This is like taking your favorite 80s band and, hearing a really great deep cut from them that you've never heard.
Yeah, that's a great analogy, sir.
And you're like, how come I've never seen this fucking movie? This movie fits in perfect with what, everything that I love about 80s horror films.
Yeah. It's a goodie. It's worth buying if you can.
Yeah. Number 4, in a 1981 Fangoria magazine interview, Deborah Hill, which is the producer, said it was a consideration of making the film in 3D.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah, this was 1981. This was around the time where a lot of filmmakers were trying to bring back the 3D stuff from the 50s and stuff.
Thank God that's over with again.
Yeah, Jaws fell into it. Friday the 13th Part 3. Yeah, thank goodness that they did not go that route.
No.
Because while those movies are still cool and watchable, they're also very awkward in some spots. So
yeah, especially Friday the 13th Part 3.
Yeah. So number 3, Jamie Lee Curtis only appears on screen for 25 minutes and 21 seconds in the second film.
No shit.
Yeah.
That is not very long.
It's not very long, but you wouldn't know if I didn't tell you.
No.
Because if you make a movie that's interesting and it has a good plot and has a good story, you don't notice things like that.
True.
And the scenes that she was in were very important. She's either getting in, most of the time she's laying in a hospital bed, and you're thinking, oh, well, all she's doing is laying in a hospital bed.
Yeah.
No, she's listening to other characters, so she's actually receiving information. So you as the viewer are kind of like her. You're receiving this information as you hear it.
Yeah.
So she kind of, if it wasn't for her listening to that, Michael would have just came in the room and killed her, but she was smart enough to get out of the fucking room, if you remember correctly, and he stabbed nothing but pillows. You add so much to this segment.
I'm just listening to you. You're beautiful. You're so pretty. Yeah, no, it's one of those things where it doesn't matter how much time you're on screen. If the story is good and the writing's very well, you don't pay attention to little shit like that.
Yeah, and
her presence is just so big that you don't notice things like that.
Yeah, like I said, she might be on screen for a short period of time, but that time was not wasted.
No, it was very impactful.
Number 2, Dana Carvey made his film debut as a background character.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't know this? I thought you knew this.
I think so.
Yeah, it's at the very beginning of the movie when they're bringing out Annie, the sheriff's daughter. And the sheriff stops, and he opens the sheets, and he sees it's her, and her eyes are open, and he closes her eyes, and he puts the sheet back up, and you see, him look at Dr. Loomis like, damn you, you let him out, blah, blah. Anyway, in the background, in like a hat and like a brown vest, I think he has like a camera. I think he was one of the reporters. He's like kind of running around. If you don't know what to look for, it's not like you're going to see his face, but that's Dana Carvey. That was his first movie role.
Shit.
Yeah, it was a background character.
No, I did not know that one. That's cool.
Yeah, I think on the DVD, like maybe it was like the 25 or the 30th anniversary documentary thing that they put out, and I think they mentioned
I was watching that last night.
I think they mentioned that, or maybe just a passing special feature thing. I can't remember, but
I didn't finish the documentary last night, but I was watching it.
Number 1, the original script took place in a high-rise apartment building, not a hospital.
Yeah, I knew that one.
Yeah, so originally it was going to be this big apartment complex, which would have definitely gave Michael more victims, I think.
Yeah.
But I think putting it in a isolated hospital on Halloween night made it much more scary. And a lot of people are like, well, it took place in a hospital. Where were all the other patients?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I don't know. Like, I mean, you had, well, first of all, I look at it like this. They had Jamie almost on, like, the baby ward side, right?
Yeah.
Like, because besides Jamie, all the other patients are, like, newborn babies.
Yeah, you're right.
So I'm thinking to myself, maybe they put her on an isolated floor because she was a victim of this huge fucking story that's just came out.
Right.
And they haven't found Michael Myers.
I mean, that's a good concept
Maybe.
and analogy.
Maybe. And the fact that, Michael kills the security guard, so you have nobody watching the place now.
That's true. I don't know if I could see it working in an apartment.
I don't either. I think I think you can get away with not having any patients at the hospital and keeping it isolated. I don't think you can get away with doing that at an apartment complex. With
nobody's home because it's Halloween.
Well, I mean, with one killer though, you know, you can do that. Like for example, Demons 2 takes place in an apartment complex.
True.
But everybody that gets bit or whatever, I mean, everybody turns into demons.
Yeah.
With Halloween, you have one killer. You know, I would suspect it wouldn't have the same effect. Jamie running down a fucking apartment hallway screaming, somebody's going to come to her rescue.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like American Psycho where he's running down a fucking hallway with a chainsaw and then fucking, woo!
Yeah, plus...
Because that's logical.
Plus, it wouldn't make sense, you know, Halloween 2 picks up right after Halloween 1, so it only makes sense that she goes to the hospital.
True.
So, if it would have been an apartment complex, you would have got, you know, 6 months later, a year later, some shit like that.
True.
And I don't think it would have been as good. I think the continuation...
Part 3 could have done that.
Yeah, part 3 could have done something like that, but I like the continuation of the first film. It took balls to do it. You know,
it did.
It takes balls to do a sequel anyway, but to do a direct sequel takes big fucking balls.
And they executed it very well because I flop back and forth between 1 and 2 all the time.
Well, I can watch them both back to back, and it seems like one big long movie. So
yeah, it's so good. God,
yeah.
Damn, they broke the mold one. Did you know that what's his name that played Dr. Lim? Donald Pleasance.
Mm-hmm.
Really didn't want to play in Halloween?
Well, no, he didn't want to play in Halloween. His daughter was a fan of John Carpenter because she's seen Assault on Precinct 13 and thought it was a cool movie and told him that he should play in it. This is a cool director. This is the cool hip new action director. So you need to take this role. Donald Pleasance was actually the third person considered for the role.
Yeah, I know.
Because Peter Cushing turned it down and Christopher Lee turned it down.
Christopher Lee said that's the one thing he regretted.
Yeah, and John Carpenter was a big fan of the Alfred Hitchcock Psycho, The Birds, Hitchcock's work, but he was also a big fan of like Hammer horror stuff.
Yeah,
the British, versions of Dracula and Mummy and stuff like that. And Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee were big stars of that Hammer horror series.
Yeah.
So he wanted one of those, and when he couldn't get one of those, he got the next best thing, which was Donald Pleasance, who had dabbled in Hammer horror as well, but really made his name as playing. If you ever want to know what Dr. Evil was based off of, it's based off of Donald Pleasance's character in one of the James Bond films.
Yeah.
I mean, the bald head, the scar, the little everything, that was Donald Pleasance first. So if you ever watch the Austin Powers movies and you think, oh, well, Dr. Evil seems familiar, well, it was actually a James Bond villain. Yeah. But so he ended up getting Donald Pleasance, which was cool. And the way he cast Jamie Lee Curtis was, like I said, he was a big fan of Alfred Hitchcock. And Janet Leigh was the star of Psycho.
Yeah, which is her mama.
And, Janet Leigh is Jamie Lee Curtis's mother. So there's the connection to Psycho right there. But
I don't think Jamie Lee Curtis was originally, like, the girl he wanted.
Yeah, it was.
It was?
It was the only girl he wanted because he wanted that connection to Psycho.
Oh, okay.
The problem came is that she had never done a featured film. She had been featured on a couple television
she was just
shows.
Fresh off of a television show.
Yeah, so her getting the role in this, of course, he auditioned other people just to make it look like he was auditioning people because that's what you have to do. Yeah. But he knew all along he was going to cast her. And Jamie Lee Curtis even said that she thought she did awful in the
yeah. She thought she was going to
casting.
get a call after day one of shooting. She was going to get fired, and then John Carpenter called her, and she was like, "Oh fuck, I'm going to get fired. I'm about to get fired right now." And he's like, "That was a good job. You did good on your first day." And she said no other director has ever done that since.
Yeah. And she thought she was going to get the role of Annie because
that's where I was getting it confused.
Well, she thought that she was going to get the role of Annie because Annie's character in the movie is more like her personality in real life. She's more outgoing, more outspoken.
Party girl.
Nancy Loomis, who played Annie, was a little bit more reserved and a little bit more quiet.
Yeah.
So they thought, but they actually flip-flopped the roles, which worked perfectly because you can totally believe Jamie Lee Curtis. It's this little thing called acting.
Yeah.
It's this little thing called acting, which some people have problems with
nowadays.
You shouldn't play a gay character if you're not really gay. You shouldn't play any race if you're not actually that race. You shouldn't do anything. If you don't have fucking web feet, you shouldn't play a character with web fucking feet.
But my thing is, then that's not acting.
No, it's not acting. It's if you want if you're making a movie about a gay person with AIDS and you actually cast a gay person with AIDS, it's not a movie, it's a fucking documentary. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And I only bring that up because Tom Hanks said in an interview that he couldn't he made a famous movie called Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Where he was a gay guy that had AIDS, and Denzel Washington plays in it, Antonio Banderas. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
And he said that, he don't think that he would play that, or he don't think that he would be cast in that role these days because he's not a true gay person. And that had me thinking, well, if they actually cast a true gay person with AIDS, that wouldn't have been a movie. It would have been a fucking documentary. And, it's pretty stupid that some of these actors, can't get that through their head that the whole point of acting is pretending to be something that you're not. And if you can pull it off and if you can make people believe that you are that in this role, that's you being good at your job.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't know. These people, the word offensive is so overdone and so overused these days. Everything offends you. We live in a day and age where social media is so big and you can put whatever you want on social media. And it seems like the more and more people do that, the more and more people get offended. So what do you want? Do you want freedom or do you want to fucking ban everything? Because you can't have it both ways.
They want things that they don't like out of the picture.
Yeah. And it's,
Which I don't understand. Like, if you are portraying a gay person on screen and, like, you take it very serious and, like, you're bringing light to whatever situation or whatever you're doing in the movie.
Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? Like,
and what about
kudos to you?
And what about all the gay people that have played straight characters, and at the time we thought they were straight in their real life, and they came out later as gay? What about that? Where's the uproar with that? It isn't any uproar because nobody cares.
Yeah.
So why should it be? Why should it be the opposite way? And they say, well, you take jobs away from other people. Like, what? No, what you're saying is
that you want an advantage.
No, what they're saying is they want everybody to be stereotyped cast. if you're black, you should only play black roles. Now, what the fuck is a black role? You mean I can only play a gangster, or I can only play a hood rat? I can only play a rapper? What are you talking about here? I can't play a Harvard-educated man? That wouldn't seem realistic. Like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about here?
Well, in that aspect, that's racist.
Exactly. They want
On
them to
their
be
end.
stereotyped.
Yeah, and that's not cool in my book, and it's not cool in your book.
No, it's
Like-
not. Like, can you imagine, like, take somebody like Edward Norton, for example, who played the Hulk in one of the Hulk movies, right?
Yeah.
But he also played a goddamn Nazi
Skinhead Nazi
in American History X. Now, you mean to tell me that because he played that, he couldn't come out with a movie where he was a victim of racism, or if he's a victim, he can't be like a lawyer representing black people who have been wronged because of the color of their skin? Like, oh, you can't cast him because he played a Nazi in a movie once. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, can we not take, who's another one? Matthew McConaughey, A Time to Kill, great movie. Represented Samuel L. Jackson when he killed the two white boys that raped and killed and almost killed his daughter.
Yeah.
Like, because he did that, can he now not play an evil fucking Nazi sympathizer if he wanted to?
Yeah. I mean,
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
just how it is, though.
Does he always have to play the hero? You know what I'm saying? It's like, does Robert Downey Jr. always have to play the hero? Can he not play a villain now because he's so known as a hero? No.
Right.
That would be stereotypical, like stereo casting. That's
Yeah.
what that means. It means, you only hire these people and they're in the same roles over and over. And a lot of actors don't like that. A
Yeah.
lot of actors do not like that. And I think it's bullshit. But, these people try to get their point across by using this word. Well, it's offensive.
Yeah.
It's offensive. That's why I said it's so fucking overused.
Yeah.
Anything that they don't like, they use the word offensive to get their narrative across. So,
Yeah.
and I don't mean to go off on a tirade here. It just kind of popped up. Because I think that actors and actresses should be able to play what they want to if their heart is in the role and they want to put everything they have, no matter whether it's a horror movie, a fucking Western, an action, a comedy. If you're going to commit to something, commit to it 100%. And, a lot of times when you see these articles online, community backlash against this, community is in an uproar. Nobody's in the uproar. Nobody's in a backlash. That's just a fucking article to make a fucking backlash happen. That's 9 times out of 10 what's happening. So
It's throwing gasoline on a little fire.
yeah, and a lot of these Hollywood people think that this is how they have to be in order for them to get the big roles. And unfortunately, it seems like that's true nowadays. And it's very sad because, a lot of good people or a lot of good actors that are supposed to be there just to entertain us,
Yeah.
they're not, they're taking it, like, if I know your politics, you failed at being a celebrity. I'm not supposed to know your politics. I'm not supposed to know what you believe in. I'm not supposed to know anything personal about you. The only thing that you're selling me is me wanting to watch your movie. So if
Agreed.
you shouldn't be preaching at me, you shouldn't be politicking at me, you shouldn't be doing none of that shit. You
Yeah.
shouldn't be, you shouldn't be doing none of that. You should be making movies that entertain audience because that's your job. Michael Jordan said it best. I'm not saying anything about Republicans. I'm not saying anything about Democrats. Why not? Because both of them buy my shoe.
Exactly. And on that note, We love you all.
Yep, that was a horrible convo today. We'll be back with some more reviews, and we're looking forward to talking shit.
Yeah, and we've also got Mad Monster coming up in mid-February, middle of February.
It'll be in the teens.
It's
like 16th, 17th, 18th, maybe 17th, 18th, 19th, something like that.
Yeah, that weekend. It'd be me, you, Lana, and Brandon. We're gonna go up and meet some people, and Zach, and we're gonna get some autographs, and who knows, I might bring the mic and ask a couple questions while we're up there.
Yeah, it'll be some fun shit.
10, fucking 10.
Well, I'm Todd of Thunder saying toodaloo.
I'm JT Ripper saying ripping ass is the best thing I do.